Beloved chosen one, still your heart for a moment. Heaven noticed you today. When the noise of the world swirled around you, when frustration tried to rise within you, you made a choice that aligned with heaven. It wasn't dramatic. No spotlight shone on you, no applause followed. Yet in that quiet second, heaven itself leaned closer. The angels turned their gaze toward you. For something sacred happened. You delighted the heart of your Father. You may not have realized what that moment meant. It might have seemed ordinary, choosing patience, offering forgiveness, silencing the urge to defend yourself, praying when you could have complained. But the invisible realm erupted in joy. The moment you responded with peace instead of pride, light rippled through the atmosphere. The unseen responded to your unseen obedience. For heaven does not count success by the size of your victory, but by the posture of your heart. The Spirit whispered to all creation, "My child remembered me." You see, beloved, God does not miss a single movement of surrender. While others measured you by your results, He measured you by your obedience. And today, the Father smiled. You may have felt a strange calm, an unexpected peace that settled over you like soft rain. That was His approval resting on your spirit. The one who created galaxies noticed one simple act from you and called it beautiful. You must understand something sacred. Obedience in hidden places moves heaven in visible ways. Every unseen yes becomes a seed planted in eternity. You didn't need to shout. You didn't need to prove your worth. Your quiet faith was enough to stir the throne of God. That yes became fragrance rising before the throne, mingled with the prayers of saints. It told heaven that faith still lives on the earth, that someone still believes when no reward is visible. Each time you choose obedience, you remind creation that darkness has not won and never will. And because of that, God moves on your behalf even when you cannot see it. Doors begin to open silently. Hearts begin to soften around you. Divine alignment begins to form like unseen roots under soil, preparing a harvest that only time will reveal. Nothing you do for God is ever wasted, ever. The ancient words recorded in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 10. Declare, I delight greatly in the Lord. My soul rejoices in my God. For He has clothed me with garments of salvation and arrayed me in a robe of righteousness. That is what heaven saw today, garments of righteousness covering you because you walked in obedience. You didn't even realize you were wearing glory. The robe was woven not from your perfection, but from your willingness. Every time you choose humility over ego, compassion over complaint, forgiveness over fury, heaven wraps you again in that robe. Beloved, this is not coincidence. This is divine timing. You were meant to see these words, to know that your Father is pleased. You did something that made the heart of God rejoice, not because you were flawless, but because you listened. That small act, that quick yes, was louder in the spirit than any sermon you could ever preach. So when you wonder if your obedience matters, remember this moment. Heaven keeps record not of your failures, but of every moment you turn back toward light. The world may never know what you resisted, what you overcame, what you refused to say, but heaven knows. You stood firm when the easy path was compromise. You chose love when bitterness beckoned. That choice shook the very foundations of darkness. And right now, in the courts of heaven, your name was spoken with joy. God leaned toward the angels and said, "That one belongs to me." Don't let discouragement steal this truth. Don't allow doubt to whisper that it meant nothing. Heaven rejoices not when you win publicly, but when you obey privately. Every small act becomes a declaration, I trust you. Lord, even when no one else sees. And when you live like that, hell trembles. So here's what you do next. Chosen one, mark this day. You obeyed. You passed a test that no one else even saw. God's heart was moved. Heaven applauded quietly, not with trumpets, but with the peace that now rests over your soul. If this word stirs something deep inside you, type 777 in the comments below as a prophetic declaration that you will continue walking in quiet obedience, trusting that heaven sees what man does not. Let that number be your agreement with the divine, your silent yes echoing across eternity. And before you scroll away, take one final step of faith, like share and subscribe. Let this message travel where heaven wants it to go. Someone out there needs the same reminder you just received, that God still notices the small acts, the hidden choices, the private victories. Heaven noticed you today, beloved, and heaven is still rejoicing. There are moments, chosen one, when you are tested without knowing it. Heaven watches not only the storms you face, but how you respond when the test hides itself in silence. Today was one of those moments. The test was quiet, so quiet you almost missed it. No thunder, no warning, no voice from the clouds. Just a situation, small enough to overlook, yet eternal in consequence. You stood at the crossroads of two worlds, the one that demanded reaction, and the one that invited restraint. Without realizing, you chose the narrow path, the one lined with grace instead of pride, patience instead of impulse. You may have thought it was nothing, but heaven recognized it immediately, because the true test is never about how loud your faith sounds, but how deep it remains when no one applauds. Today you passed the silent test, the kind only God sees. When that thought of anger tried to rise within you, you breathed instead of breaking. When you wanted to justify yourself, you remembered the still small voice that said, "Be still." When you could have taken revenge, you chose to walk away. You didn't win an argument, but you won heaven's approval. You didn't just act good, you revealed your true heart. The apostle reminds us in his first letter to Samuel, chapter 16, verse 7. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. That verse is alive in you tonight. Heaven saw beyond your actions and into your intentions. While others might never know what it cost you to remain calm, God saw every ounce of restraint as worship. The world might celebrate power, but heaven celebrates purity of heart. You passed a test that few recognize, the test of quiet faith. There's no medal for it, no visible reward, but the spiritual impact is vast. Every time you choose integrity over convenience, you send shockwaves through darkness. Because light is not measured in sound or spectacle, it's measured in consistency. When you decided to trust instead of panic, something shifted inside you. That was the Holy Spirit confirming that you are growing, that you're not who you used to be. The battles that once overwhelmed you now feel smaller, not because the storms have changed, but because your spirit has matured. This is what heaven calls refinement. The fire doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to reveal the gold within. Every small act of self-control polishes the reflection of Christ in you. And the more you reflect Him, the more hell loses its grip on your emotions, your thoughts, your peace. Chosen one, heaven doesn't applaud loud victories, it celebrates silent obedience. The angels lean close when you whisper forgiveness, when you refuse bitterness, when you love without recognition. Those are the invisible battles that build eternal crowns. Do you remember when you used to ask God for strength? This is what that strength looks like. It's not a roar. It's a whisper that refuses to bow to chaos. It's the quiet stability that says, "I will not lose my peace." And though no one on earth may ever thank you for it, heaven already has. The record has been written, the test was seen, the choice was noted. The reward has already begun to form, not always in visible blessings, but in spiritual authority. Because each time you overcome silently, you become more like the one who endured the cross without defending himself. You are learning the discipline of divine restraint. It's not weakness, it's mastery. It's knowing when to be silent, when to speak, when to walk away. It's being led by peace rather than pride. You might not hear applause, but you will sense heaven's nod. You'll notice how peace lingers longer, how joy returns faster, how the heaviness doesn't cling like it used to. These are the signs that your inner world is transforming. You're not reacting like before because you've been remade by grace. The silent test reveals the true you, the one heaven has been shaping behind the scenes. And though it often feels unnoticed, it is in fact the most celebrated victory in heaven's realm. Because while the world rewards performance, God rewards purity. So let this truth rest deep within you. The test you passed today is not forgotten. Heaven saw the thought you resisted, the word you swallowed, the peace you protected. That's where real strength lives, not in proving you're right, but in keeping your spirit aligned with His. If you could hear heaven's sound right now, you'd hear a quiet applause, a chorus of angels acknowledging your growth. The Father's voice would echo through eternity saying, "Well done, my child." And tomorrow, when another silent test comes, you'll recognize it sooner. You'll smile instead of snapping. You'll pause instead of panicking, and because you'll remember this truth, God is watching. Not with judgment, but with delight. He's not testing to break you, He's refining to bless you. The silent test is the sacred classroom where faith matures. And today, chosen one, you passed with grace. Beloved chosen one, do you know what happens when you obey in silence? Heaven takes note and angels begin to move. The unseen world does not remain still when faith is acted upon. Every step of obedience releases sound in the spiritual realm, a vibration that heaven hears and records. Today, something was written beside your name in the eternal books. You didn't see it, but you caused motion in heaven. The act you thought was small was actually monumental, because faith always moves heaven. You spoke softly, forgave quietly, or resisted something that once enslaved you, and in doing so, you partnered with God's divine will. Angels were dispatched, and their wings carried your obedience into eternal record. There are heavenly scribes, messengers who document moments like these. Each act of faith, each tear surrendered to trust, becomes ink on sacred parchment. Your name is surrounded by testimonies of courage. What you did today will echo far beyond this moment, into generations yet to come. Heaven is not distant or indifferent, it is interactive. Every faithful action from earth triggers divine reaction from above. When you align with God, heaven aligns with you. You may not hear the rustle of wings or see the glow of light, but angels have already moved at your obedience, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old in the book of Hebrews chapter 6 verse 10. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown Him as you have helped His people and continue to help them. That promise belongs to you. God does not forget. He doesn't overlook the quiet faithfulness of His chosen ones. Your love is seen, your labor recorded, your endurance remembered. Every moment of compassion, every decision to keep believing when hope seems far away, it all becomes evidence before the throne. Even now, the Father looks at your record and smiles. The angels sing softly, not of perfection, but of perseverance. You are becoming proof that light still reigns over darkness. Chosen one, This is why the enemy tries so hard to make you give up, because he fears the impact of your obedience. He knows what happens when one heart stays loyal to God in silence. Entire spiritual atmospheres begin to shift. Territories once claimed by despair start to feel heaven's warmth again. Families bound by fear start to break free. You think your choice affects only you, but heaven knows it multiplies through generations. Every act of obedience becomes a seed planted in someone else's soil. Every word spoken in love becomes a spark that ignites hope in another heart. You may never meet those whose lives are touched by your faithfulness, but eternity will reveal their gratitude. Right now, heaven's archives are growing. The angels record not only victories, but moments of surrender, the times you cried but kept trusting, the prayers you whispered when strength was gone. All of it matters. The truth is, obedience is louder in heaven than any worship song on earth. When you choose righteousness over rebellion, heaven hears a melody. When you walk away from sin, heaven hears the sound of restoration. When you forgive, it's as if trumpets announce your decision across eternity. The angels are not mere spectators. They are participants in your story. They move at the sound of obedience. They respond to faith like waves to wind. And when you align with heaven's will, they are empowered to protect, to guide, to open paths that no human could force open. This is why your obedience matters. It's not about rules, it's about resonance. Every yes harmonizes your soul with heaven's rhythm. Every no to darkness restores divine order in your life. You are writing a story in the unseen realm with choices that seem invisible here. So when you doubt your impact, remember this: you are not forgotten. You are not unseen. There are angels who carry your obedience before God like an offering, presenting it as fragrant incense. Your faith is a sound heaven never tires of hearing. And tonight, heaven adds another page to your story, a page filled with the fragrance of your devotion and the power of your perseverance. If this message stirs your spirit, write these words below as your declaration: I am seen. Say it, type it, believe it. Those 3 words are not just affirmation, they are truth written in heaven's record about you. When you comment those words, you're agreeing with what God already declared: you are seen, known, loved, and remembered. Let your comment be your covenant, your way of saying, I align with heaven's witness over my life. Chosen one, the angels have written today's obedience into eternity. The sound of your yes will echo far beyond this season. Never doubt again that what you do in secret is unseen. Heaven saw, heaven remembered, and heaven moved. Chosen one, heaven smiled today because you chose peace over pride. That single decision, one the world would have ignored, became thunder in the spirit. It may have looked like weakness to others, but in truth, it was one of your strongest moments. You stood at the threshold of conflict and walked away, not in defeat, but in quiet victory. The kingdom of God advances through such unseen choices. You had every right to speak back, to defend yourself, to prove your point. The temptation burned quietly inside you, whispering that silence meant surrender. Yet deep down, you sensed the gentle nudge of heaven. Hold your peace. And for the first time, you listened. You laid down your right to be right. You chose stillness instead of shouting, humility instead of retaliation. That choice delighted your Father's heart, because peace is not passive, it's powerful. It is the weapon of those who trust God's justice more than their own defense. The moment you held your tongue, heaven moved to defend you. The moment you refused to argue, angels began to encamp around you. The moment you stopped striving, the Lord Himself took up your cause. Heaven always honors restraint. Peace is not a lack of courage, it is the evidence of authority. Anyone can react, but only those anchored in divine confidence can stay calm when provoked. You proved today that your spirit is no longer driven by the storms around you, but by the stillness within you. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 1. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Those words are not merely wisdom from ancient pages, they are the heartbeat of heaven. Every time you choose gentleness over fury, you mirror the nature of God Himself. The Lord never panics, never reacts in haste, and when you reflect His peace, you carry His likeness into the world. The peace you chose today was not just for you. It protected those connected to you. Every outburst avoided, every unnecessary word withheld. Closed a door the enemy was waiting to enter through. Had you spoken in anger, the darkness would have gained territory in your relationship. But because you stayed still, heaven fortified your walls instead. Peace is not the absence of emotion, it is the mastery of emotion under divine guidance. You felt the heat of the moment, yet you refused to let it rule you. That is spiritual maturity in motion. You are no longer the person who reacts to every provocation. You are now the one who guards peace like treasure, because you finally understand its value. The Holy Spirit rejoiced when you remained silent. In that silence, the enemy lost access. Hell feeds on reaction, but heaven dwells in rest. The moment you refused to react, you stripped darkness of its power. That is why the enemy tried so hard to provoke you, because he feared your peace. Many think warfare is shouting prayers or rebuking demons, but true warfare begins in the restraint of your own tongue. When you master peace, you master authority. Your calm is not weakness, it is command. Your silence is not fear, it is strategy. You don't need to win arguments when heaven already fights for you. Chosen one, what you did today shifted things you cannot yet see. You allowed God to be your defender, and that act activated divine justice. He will handle what your words could not fix. You will see resolution come not by confrontation, but by divine orchestration. The same peace that guarded your heart today will soon guard your circumstances. Let your peace preach louder than your pride ever could. People may not understand your calm, but heaven does. The Spirit saw your trembling hands, your restrained words, your racing thoughts, and yet you chose love. That decision echoed through heaven as a declaration of maturity. And this is how transformation looks, not through grand gestures or perfect days, but through small, sacred decisions like this one. The fruit of the Spirit is not born in comfort, it grows in conflict. Each time you choose peace, your roots go deeper, your faith becomes firmer, and your heart becomes more like Christ. The world teaches that silence is weakness, but the kingdom reveals that silence is strength refined. It is the mark of those who know who they are. You no longer need to prove your worth through words, because you are already validated by heaven. When you chose peace, you stepped into the likeness of Jesus, the one who, when accused, remained silent before his accusers. That is the strength you carry now. You are learning the language of heaven, and its first word is peace. So hold on to that calm, guard it like treasure. The same stillness that held you today will carry you through the days ahead. Each time chaos calls, remember you are no longer required to answer. You are not called to fight every battle, only the ones heaven assigns. You have proven to heaven that you can be trusted with authority because you have learned restraint. And heaven will now trust you with more peace, more influence, more responsibility, because those who guard peace will one day rule in it. Heaven's applause is not the sound of thunder. It is the whisper of joy that fills the atmosphere when one heart yields fully to God. And today, chosen one, heaven applauded you. One quiet decision, a surrender no one else saw, rose before the throne like incense. You may have felt nothing in the moment, but the sound of your obedience echoed across eternity. You didn't preach to crowds or perform miracles, you simply said yes to God when your flesh said no. That is the kind of obedience that touches heaven's core. The Father's delight is not drawn to grand gestures, but to the humility of a soul that listens even when it hurts. You have no idea how many angels rejoiced over your choice today. When you whispered forgiveness instead of anger, heaven leaned closer. When you offered kindness instead of judgment, heaven's light grew brighter around you. Every act of love sends a fragrance upward. And today the courts of heaven are filled with the scent of your obedience, as we are reminded through the writings of the prophet Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 17. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. Imagine that God himself singing over you. The one who created the oceans and galaxies lifting his voice because your heart chose his way. Can you feel that quiet warmth in your chest that's not imagination? That's recognition. Heaven recognizes its own in you. You have to understand something profound when heaven delights. Creation responds. Favor begins to gather like dew on your path. Doors that once resisted start to open without strain. People who once opposed you begin to soften. Not because you demanded respect, but because God placed his delight upon you. His joy over you becomes a magnet for grace. Beloved, sometimes God's smile looks like peace after tears. Sometimes it's unexpected provision when you thought you lacked. Sometimes it's the right word at the right moment, confirming that he's been beside you all along. Heaven's delight is not always loud, but it's always real. Your obedience has set something in motion. Like ripples on still water, it travels outward, touching hearts you'll never meet. Maybe your patience today prevented someone else's despair. Maybe your compassion saved someone's hope. You may never see it, but heaven does, and heaven never forgets. And because you bring joy to the Father's heart, he will multiply your joy. The light you carry will not fade, it will grow. The more you walk in obedience, the more your spirit shines. That glow, that calm, that deep assurance, it becomes contagious. Others will feel it without knowing why. You are becoming a living sermon, written not in ink, but in peace. Chosen one, think of your obedience as a seed. Seeds look small, even forgettable. Yet within them are forests, shade, and fruit for generations. What you did today is a seed of delight in God's garden. In time, it will grow into blessings that others can rest under. Some will find shelter in the tree of your faith. Others will taste the fruit of your compassion. That is how heaven's applause turns into legacy. Now, I speak gently to your spirit when heaven rejoices. Let your heart rejoice too. Celebrate what God celebrates. You've grown, even if the world hasn't noticed yet. And one of the ways to honor that growth is to share light forward. When you share what blesses you, you multiply heaven's impact on earth. If these words find you in a moment of reflection, let them also inspire action. When light touches your life, it is never meant to stop there. It's meant to flow, like a candle that lights another without losing its flame. Your sharing carries warmth into places still cold with doubt. So, as an act of gratitude and faith, like, share, and subscribe to keep this river of truth flowing. Let this message reach another chosen one who needs to remember that heaven still delights in obedience. Each click, each share, is like opening a window for light to enter another heart. You're not just supporting a voice, you're extending the reach of heaven's whisper. And if this message stirred something deep within you, if you felt that sacred recognition of God's joy over you, then consider sowing into this movement. Not as payment, not as obligation, but as an offering of gratitude. Every seed given helps spread these words to those who are still standing in silence, waiting for a reminder that heaven sees them too. Your generosity becomes a branch in that growing tree of light. Its fruit is the healing of hearts, the strengthening of faith, the awakening of hope. When you give, you're not just donating, you're partnering with heaven to plant more seeds of truth in weary soil. So, beloved, let heaven's joy overflow through you. You've pleased God today, and in your obedience lies the beginning of miracles yet unseen. Let your gratitude become movement. Let your light become invitation. Let your faith become fruit that others may taste and know heaven delights in those who obey. There are battles that unfold in silence. Chosen one. The kind no one else witnesses, the inward wrestling, the tug of war between spirit and flesh. Today, you fought one of those hidden battles. It wasn't waged with swords or words, but with choices, with thoughts, with restraint. And though the world never saw it, heaven did. You fought quietly and you won. No one applauded you for walking away from temptation. No one saw the heaviness that pressed on your chest while you whispered, "Lord, help me stay." But heaven saw every second of that struggle. Every tear that fell before you chose obedience over indulgence, holiness over compromise. These are the battles that shape warriors of the light, the ones fought in secret. You may feel tired now, as if you just walked through invisible fire. That's because you did. But you also came out refined, purified, and seen. The Spirit rejoices over what happened within you today. The war may have felt small on the outside, but its victory resounded through eternity. Each time you resist the darkness, a chain breaks. Each time you choose righteousness, a gate opens. Each time you whisper, "I will not go back," heaven marks another victory beside your name. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in the book of James, chapter 4, verse 7. Submit yourselves, then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. You lived that truth today. You didn't just read it, you became it. The devil fled not because you shouted, but because you stood. You didn't need to swing your fists in the air. Your quiet obedience terrified hell. Demons retreat when a child of God stands firm without fear. This battle was not about proving your strength. It was about proving your belonging. God already knew you were His. But sometimes the test comes to show you that you are stronger than you realize. Each act of resistance builds spiritual muscle. Every no to darkness makes your yes to God louder. You might think no one understands how hard that battle was, but heaven understands perfectly. Angels encircled you as you struggled. The Spirit whispered strength into your thoughts when your own words failed. You didn't see it, but you were surrounded. Every trembling breath was a prayer that reached the throne. And now, beloved, rest. The war within has subsided for now, and heaven's peace is settling over you. That calm you feel is not emptiness, it's the evidence of victory. You chose holiness when no one was watching, and that makes all the difference. But don't be surprised if the enemy tries again. Darkness hates losing territory. Yet now, you are no longer the same. You've discovered what it means to stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. You've learned that power is not in noise, but in knowing who you belong to. This battle revealed something essential. You don't have to fight for approval, you fight from it. You are already chosen, already loved, already covered. The enemy's greatest deception is to make you forget who you are. But today, your faith reminded both heaven and hell of your true identity. You are the one the enemy fears, not the other way around. Chosen one. The battlefield of your mind may still echo with the sound of struggle, but let peace settle there now. Let gratitude replace exhaustion. Let victory become worship. Because what happened inside you today was sacred. You overcame without spectacle. You endured without applause. You stood when surrender would have been easier. And in that moment, the heavens rejoiced. The Lord leaned over your life and whispered, "They chose me again." Now, as a prophetic act of acknowledgement, write the number 444 in the comments below. It is not superstition, it is a declaration. It symbolizes the divine stability that now surrounds you, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit standing as your wall of protection, strengthening the foundation of your faith. When you type that number, you're not just pressing keys, you're planting a testimony. You're saying, "I resisted, I stood, I am covered." Let heaven see your agreement. Let it mark you once more as one who conquers not with pride, but with purity. Remember this: the fiercest battles are fought where no one can see, but the greatest victories are won in that same silence. You may not wear armor that glitters, but your endurance shines brighter than gold. You may not hold a sword of steel, but your yes to God cuts through darkness like flame through fog. So tonight, as heaven writes another victory beside your name, rest knowing that you are not just surviving, you are advancing. Each step of obedience takes back ground the enemy once claimed. Each quiet choice rewrites your story in heaven's ink. And when you wake tomorrow, the light will feel a little warmer, your spirit a little stronger, and your path a little clearer, because you did not give in. You stood your ground, and heaven stood with you. The hidden battle no one saw became the victory heaven will never forget. There are moments in eternity when heaven falls silent, pausing, listening, watching, because a child of God has done something that echoes beyond the earth. Today, chosen one. That was you. God whispered your name with affection, and all of heaven turned to listen, not because of wealth, fame, or power, but because of your heart. You did something simple, something pure, and heaven called it holy. When you took that small step of obedience, you may have thought it went unnoticed. You didn't see any change, no lightning, no signs. But in the spirit, your yes to God sounded like thunder. It pierced through layers of resistance, scattering shadows that had lingered too long around your destiny. Heaven recognized your surrender, and in response, the Father spoke softly. "That's my child," the voice that once called creation into being, that formed light from darkness and oceans from void, spoke your name today. It wasn't shouted, it was whispered, yet that whisper carried through eternity. When God speaks your name in love, everything about you begins to align with His will. His approval doesn't need to be loud. It transforms you quietly from the inside out. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 3 and verse 17. And a voice from heaven said, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." Those same words, once spoken over Christ, now echo over your life. Because when you walk in His likeness, humble, obedient, surrendered, He recognizes His reflection in you. God does not delight in perfection. He delights in resemblance. Every time you act with grace, every time you forgive, every time you choose peace, you look more like His Son. Heaven's joy today is not about what you achieved, but about who you became in that single moment. You acted from your true identity, chosen, beloved, redeemed. You didn't just make the right choice, you embodied who you were always meant to be. That's why heaven smiled. Think of it this way: a painter rejoices when a canvas finally holds the image they envisioned. A musician smiles when the melody comes together after hours of silence. That is how God feels when your life begins to sound like His heart. Every time you choose obedience, the divine composition becomes clearer, the portrait brighter. There is something profoundly sacred about being recognized by heaven. You spend much of your life trying to be understood by people, by friends, by family, by the world that often misreads your silence as weakness. But heaven never misunderstands you. Heaven interprets your tears correctly. Heaven knows the weight you carry and the strength it takes not to give up. That's why today matters. Heaven didn't simply notice your action, it celebrated your essence. When God said, "That's my child," it wasn't just approval for what you did. It was affirmation of who you are. The enemy hates moments like this because they root you deeper in divine identity. The devil thrives on confusion and self-doubt, but when God whispers, "You're mine," that confusion breaks. Suddenly, you see yourself not as flawed or forgotten, but as claimed. You realize you were never fighting for God's love, you were fighting from it. And something shifts within you. The insecurity that once followed you loses its power. The need for validation fades. You begin to rest in the truth that your worth was settled long before your first breath. You were chosen before the foundation of the world, and today's obedience was simply proof of what heaven already knew you belong. Or the chosen one. Let this truth settle deep in your spirit. God's recognition is not earned, it is awakened. You didn't convince Him to love you. Your obedience simply aligned you with the love that has always been there. You may have stumbled before, failed before, doubted before, but today reminded heaven and yourself that His mark is still upon you. The Father's whisper carries power. It realigns destiny. It heals unseen wounds. It restores what shame tried to erase. When He calls you mine, the accusations lose volume, the fear loses footing, and peace takes its rightful place again. That's why heaven's approval feels different from the world's applause. The world's praise fades quickly, feeding pride and emptiness. But God's delight fills you quietly, deeply, and permanently. You can feel it in your bones, a peace that doesn't depend on results, a joy that doesn't demand recognition. So tonight, rest in this awareness: God has spoken your name with love. You have brought pleasure to His heart. Even if no one else knows what you overcame to stay faithful, heaven knows, and that is enough. Your life has become a testimony of quiet transformation. You may not see the full picture yet, but the brush of God is still moving, still shaping, still perfecting. Every surrender adds another stroke of beauty to the masterpiece of your calling. And one day, when the journey is complete, you'll look back and realize every whisper, every small act, every unseen moment of faith was heaven speaking your name through your story. You are known, you are loved, you are God's beloved child, and He is well pleased. Chosen one. Heaven watched as you loosened your grip today. There was something you loved, something familiar that had grown comfortable, even sacred to your human heart. Yet deep down, the Spirit whispered, "It's time to release it." And with trembling hands, you obeyed. You didn't know why. You didn't know what would come after, but you trusted that God's voice was leading you into something greater. That single act of surrender did not go unnoticed. The moment you let it go, heaven shifted. What you thought was an ending became an offering. What felt like loss became the sound of worship in heaven's courts. You see, The greatest gifts you ever give to God are not wrapped in gold or words, they are made of trust. And today, you gave Him your trust again. It takes courage to surrender. The world calls it weakness, but heaven calls it wisdom. Because to surrender means to recognize that what you once carried is no longer meant to define you. The Father doesn't take things to harm you. He removes them to make space for what will bless you. Obedience always creates room for divine exchange. You stood in that invisible place between fear and faith, and you chose faith. That moment broke a cycle, one that might have been running through your bloodline, your memories, your fears. Surrender severs ties to everything temporary, so that you can inherit what is eternal. And when you let go, heaven didn't just witness, it intervened. Generational weights began to lift. Patterns that once chained your ancestors started to dissolve. What ended with your surrender will not continue beyond you. That single act became a doorway of redemption, a signal to heaven that your lineage has stepped into restoration. The Spirit spoke through the Apostle Paul in the book of Romans, chapter 12. Verse 1. Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. That scripture isn't only about body or ritual, it's about posture. The posture of the heart that says, God, whatever you want, I will give. When you surrender, you transform ordinary moments into holy altars. You might not have a temple or a priest standing by, but heaven knows when the fire of obedience burns on your heart. Chosen one. There's something sacred about sacrifice when it's born from love. You didn't give because you were forced. You gave because you trusted. You believed that God's plan could be better than your own. And that is the fragrance heaven cannot resist. That's why angels moved today. That's why the air felt lighter after you let go. The moment you said yes, something unseen broke open. You may not see it yet, but your surrender released favor. The hands that once clung to what was now stand open to receive what will be. God never leaves empty hands empty for long. When you place something on His altar, He multiplies it in His time. Look closely, your sacrifice has already begun to bear fruit. Peace has come where anxiety used to live. Hope is whispering where fear once shouted. Even your tears are watering the seeds of future joy. The ground of obedience may feel barren, but beneath it, roots are forming. Heaven is building something you can't yet imagine. Think of the tree that must shed its leaves before spring can return. To the world, it looks like death, but heaven calls it preparation. What you let go of was never meant to die, it was meant to transform. In the silence after surrender, heaven is working. Sometimes the holiest act is not lifting your hands in worship, but opening them to release what you love. It hurts. Yes, but so did every miracle that ever mattered. Abraham's altar, Hannah's prayer, the widow's last meal. Each act of surrender became a portal for divine visitation. You are now part of that same lineage of faith. You are walking through sacred fire, not to be consumed, but to be purified. God is not taking from you, He is taking you higher. He is unweaving threads that no longer fit the fabric of your purpose. It might sting, but it's making room for something greater. Do not fear the emptiness that follows obedience. That silence is not punishment, it's incubation. Heaven is planting promises in that quiet space. What you lost in form, you will regain in glory. What you gave away in tears, you will receive back in joy. Chosen one, you have proven that love for God means more to you than comfort. And because of that, the Father will entrust you with greater things. The hands that surrender will soon hold miracles. The heart that obeys will soon overflow with peace that the world cannot explain. So rest in the sacred ache. Let it stretch you, let it change you, because today, your sacrifice became a song that heaven will replay for eternity, a melody of trust, a harmony of faith, a rhythm of surrender that sounds like love itself. Chosen one, when you obeyed, you set something in motion beyond yourself. The act that seemed small in your eyes has become a river that flows into the lives of others. That's how heaven works. One act of obedience becomes a wave that touches shores you will never see. What you did today is already echoing in hearts you've never met. There are people who will find peace because you chose peace. There are souls who will believe again because they saw faith in you. Your ripple of righteousness has not stopped. It is multiplying, widening, growing stronger as it moves through time. Heaven loves to use willing hearts as channels, and you have become one. You see, God never measures the worth of an action by how visible it is. He measures it by its eternal reach. Every prayer whispered in faith, every choice to love instead of hate, every decision to forgive instead of retaliate, all of it becomes part of the divine chain reaction that transforms the world one hidden act at a time. Your life is proof that unseen obedience changes everything. What you did today will echo in places your feet will never walk. Like ripples born from a single drop, your faith travels outward, touching hearts, rewriting stories, and carrying heaven's fragrance into places desperate for hope. Even the smallest light dispels darkness. Even the quietest act becomes thunder in the spirit. Never underestimate the weight of your yes. It shifts atmospheres, softens hardened hearts, and opens windows of grace. Your obedience is not forgotten. It is multiplying in heaven's endless timeline of redemption. As the Apostle Paul reminds us in the letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." This truth is now living inside you. You've planted something holy today. You might not see its harvest yet, but heaven's calendar is already counting toward it. Your obedience was a seed, and seeds never remain seeds for long. In time, what you've sown in faith will rise in beauty. Your decision may seem isolated, but heaven sees the chain of miracles it will set into motion. A stranger may feel hope again. A family may heal. A generation may change course because you were willing to be different. That is the mystery of divine obedience. It multiplies itself through time and space until eternity calls it complete. You may think you are ordinary, but heaven calls you catalytic. You are the spark that ignites faith in others. Sometimes, God hides your influence from you so that pride doesn't spoil the purity of your offering. But make no mistake, your yes is powerful beyond your imagination. The spiritual realm moves like water. Every obedient act you release becomes a current that carries grace to others. It finds the thirsty. It refreshes the weary. It cleanses what once felt stagnant. You have joined heaven's flow, and through you, others will find life. Chosen one, even when you feel unnoticed, the ripple continues. Some will feel it as comfort, others as conviction. Some will weep, others will awaken. That is how obedience speaks. It carries heaven's tone without needing words. The seeds you've sown in love are not forgotten. Heaven keeps record of them all. You have not lost anything by obeying. You have multiplied something eternal. Every moment you trust, another door opens for someone else to find light. Your life has become a testimony written in motion. It's not a single page, it's a river of stories flowing through time. Somewhere, someone will pray differently because of what you endured with faith. Somewhere, A heart will forgive because you did first. That's the unseen power of your obedience. It teaches others how to live free. Beloved, you may not realize it, but you've become a bridge. Where division stood, grace now crosses. Where bitterness ruled, peace now flows. Heaven uses bridges, not walls. And your heart, softened by surrender, has become a pathway for others to meet God's mercy. So when discouragement whispers, no one sees. Remember, heaven sees and humanity feels. Your obedience has become invisible architecture in the spirit, a structure that carries hope across generations. And now, as a mark of recognition, write these words below: I am ready. Say it with your spirit. Type it with conviction. These 3 words are not a phrase, they are a prophetic declaration. You are telling heaven that you are ready to be used as a vessel of influence, ready to let your obedience become overflow, ready to let your small yes change countless lives. When you comment, I am ready, you are not speaking to the algorithm, you are speaking to destiny. You are saying, use me, Lord, to carry what I've received into the world around me. Heaven responds to faith that speaks. Your comment becomes a signature at the bottom of heaven's covenant over you. Chosen one. This is the ripple effect of obedience, one decision that carries eternity in its wake. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the wave that moves with divine power. And because you obeyed, the waters of grace now flow where there was once drought. Chosen one. Do you realize what happened in the unseen when you stood your ground today? The darkness that had lingered around your path took one step back. The enemy's whisper lost its grip. What once intimidated you now bows before the authority of the one who lives within you. You may not have seen it, but heaven did a subtle shift, a tremor in the spirit, a sign that light has claimed new territory. Every act of faith sends shockwaves through darkness. You didn't need to shout. You didn't need to fight with words. You simply stood still in truth. That stillness was warfare. That silence was a sword. And when you refused to bend, the enemy had no choice but to retreat. The apostles' words in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 13, come alive within you. Therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. That's what you did. You stood. Even weary, even unsure, you stood. The atmosphere shifted because of your endurance. Every time you chose truth over fear, forgiveness over fury, and patience over panic, the walls of darkness cracked a little more. Hell lost ground because you refused to bow. The battle you faced wasn't external, it was spiritual. The war wasn't fought with fists or fire, but with faith. Your resistance sent confusion into the enemy's camp. Demons who once mocked your weakness now whisper your name with dread. They remember the moment you didn't give up. You might think you've done something small, but heaven calls it victory. The light you carry is no longer flickering, it's blazing. Each trial you've overcome has only made your fire burn purer. The more the wind tried to extinguish it, the stronger it became. You are a living torch in a world growing dark, and your flame terrifies the shadows. When light stands, darkness cannot stay. That's why the battle intensified lately. It wasn't punishment, it was proof that you were breaking through. The closer light gets to full dawn, the louder the night screams. But dawn is here now. The enemy knows it, heaven knows it. And soon, so will you, chosen one. The season of intimidation is ending. The voices that once made you tremble are losing volume. You are no longer the wounded one, you are the warrior rising. The very things that once bound you will become your testimony. Your scars are not signs of defeat, they are proof that you survived everything sent to destroy you. So walk boldly now. You've stood long enough in the storm. Now it's time to move with authority. The armor of God doesn't just protect, it empowers. Every piece, truth, righteousness, faith, salvation, and the word was forged in the fire you endured. You wear heaven's craftsmanship, and as you move forward, let your light spill into other hearts. You were never meant to keep your victory private. Someone else is waiting in the dark for proof that they, too, can overcome. Let your life become that proof. When this message resonates with your spirit, don't just nod in silence, like share and subscribe as a prophetic act of partnership. It's not about growing numbers, it's about spreading light. Each action becomes a ripple in the digital realm, carrying truth into timelines and hearts that need divine interruption. You're not promoting a person, you're extending a flame. And if the Spirit stirs you deeper, if these words feel like they've touched something sacred within, consider giving, not out of pressure, but as an offering of gratitude. Think of it as pouring oil onto the fire so it can burn brighter and reach farther. Every seed you sow keeps the torch lit in places you may never visit, but heaven will. Your support is like the hand of Aaron lifting Moses' arms during battle. When you give, you help keep this voice steady so it can keep declaring victory over weary hearts. The work of light always multiplies when joined with faith and generosity. You are part of something divine unfolding. This isn't just a message, it's a movement. Each act of engagement, each offering, each share becomes another spark in the collective flame that pushes back night after night. So, chosen one, let your life preach louder than words. Let every like be a whisper of gratitude, every share a candle passed to another soul, every act of generosity a stream of oil sustaining the fire of truth. The world is full of shadows, but it only takes one flame to reveal the way. You are that flame. Heaven has equipped you not just to survive darkness, but to transform it. Your endurance today was not wasted, it was investment. And heaven will honor it with favor, peace, and power. Stand tall, light bearer. The darkness backed away because your spirit refused to bow. And now, where fear once stood, faith reigns. Where confusion once clouded, clarity shines. You are no longer merely resisting, you are advancing. Let the fire in you keep burning. Let it guide others home. Chosen one, there are moments when heaven reopens doors that once seemed permanently sealed. Not because you forced them, not because you demanded breakthrough, but because your obedience invited divine timing back into alignment. Today, something in the unseen shifted. The door that had remained closed for so long began to move, not by your effort, but by heaven's hand. You've stood before that door in the past, knocking until your knuckles ached. You prayed, you waited, you questioned. There were nights when silence felt like rejection and mornings when hope seemed foolish. But heaven was not ignoring you. It was preparing you. God was never denying the door. He was strengthening the one who would walk through it. You see, sometimes divine doors are delayed not because you're unworthy, but because what's behind them requires a stronger version of you to sustain it. If the door had opened too early, what waited there might have crushed you. But now, after the trials, the tests, and the tears, you are ready. Heaven knows it, and the hinges are turning. The version of you standing here now is not the same one who once begged for entry. You carry wisdom born of waiting, strength forged in stillness, and compassion shaped by loss. The door no longer intimidates you, it recognizes you. It opens because you finally match its promise. And when you step through, the air will feel different, lighter, holier, charged with purpose. You will sense that heaven has been preparing this moment for longer than you can imagine. every unanswered prayer, every silent night, was the sound of God building what you're about to enter. The voice of the Lord echoes from the book of Revelation. Chapter 3, verse 8. I have set before you an open door which no one can shut, for you have a little strength, have kept my word, and have not denied my name. That verse is not just a promise, it's a proclamation. It speaks directly to your spirit. You've been faithful when faith felt fragile. You've kept your heart pure in seasons of confusion. You've resisted bitterness when you could have chosen blame, and heaven has recorded it all. Because of that faithfulness, the door is opening again. When heaven opens a door, it doesn't creak with uncertainty, it swings wide with purpose. You don't need to knock anymore. Now you only need to walk through. The waiting season has done its work. It has refined your discernment and matured your spirit. You can now recognize the counterfeit opportunities that once distracted you. You've learned to tell the difference between a door and a detour. There is divine poetry in the way God opens things. Sometimes, He doesn't announce it with noise, He simply breathes, and what was locked begins to yield. He turns impossibility into invitation. The same walls that once stood between you and promise now serve as pillars for what's about to be built. Chosen one. When heaven reopens a door, it doesn't just restore what was delayed, it redeems what was lost. Time, energy, relationships, resources, everything the enemy tried to waste will return in multiplied form. You are about to step into a season where things will flow easily again. The striving will cease. Grace will carry you where force once failed you. But remember, every open door also carries responsibility. God opens doors not for comfort, but for calling. The blessing is not a prize, it's an assignment. When you walk through, do so with humility, knowing that heaven trusts you to steward what others might misuse. The same obedience that unlocked this door will be required to sustain what's behind it. And though this moment feels sacred, don't rush it. Stand still for a while. Let your soul absorb what God has done. Look at the door, not with entitlement, but with awe. You waited. You wept. You wondered if it would ever move. And now, heaven's breath has touched it. Take a moment to thank Him not only for the opening, but for the waiting that shaped you. This is what divine timing feels like, effortless alignment after seasons of endurance. It's the peace that comes when you realize you didn't open the door yourself, it opened because God said, now. Behind this threshold lies not just blessing, but expansion. You're not stepping into what was delayed. You're stepping into what has matured. Everything you lost, every unanswered prayer, every closed opportunity, they were all seeds planted in the soil of preparation. Today they bloom. Don't be afraid to cross over. The same grace that brought you to the door will guide you through it. The fears that used to hold you no longer fit in this new room. Leave them outside. Step through with expectation, with gratitude, with reverence. For the first time in a long while, heaven's rhythm matches your own heartbeat. You are in sync with divine order. And as you move forward, you'll notice something miraculous. Other doors will begin to open, not by your searching, but by your shining. Obedience attracts opportunity, so walk boldly. Chosen one. The delay is over, the door is open, heaven is realigned, and nothing, no man, no spirit, no circumstance can shut what God has set in motion for you. Chosen one. The signs are beginning to appear. They are subtle at first, gentle confirmations that heaven has heard and heaven has moved. You may notice the smallest shift, a conversation that comes at the perfect moment, a door that opens without effort, a word that echoes what you prayed in secret. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Heaven is responding to your obedience. The Father delights in proving himself faithful to those who trust him fully. When you said yes, you activated divine cause and effect. What was once held in waiting is now unfolding before you. The movement of heaven rarely begins with noise, it begins with alignment. You have stepped into that alignment, and now signs follow. It was written in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 16, verse 20. Then the disciples went out and preached everywhere, and the Lord worked with them and confirmed his word by the signs that accompanied it. That same pattern continues in your life now. Heaven confirms obedience through evidence, not always dramatic miracles, but daily mercies that accumulate like dew. Every moment of grace, every answered prayer, every unexplainable peace is God's way of whispering, "I am still with you." Sometimes, confirmation comes through disruption. A door that closes sharply is just as much a sign as one that opens softly. The Lord is not punishing you when things shift suddenly. He is redirecting you. Every no is a shield, every delay is protection, and every redirection is an escort towards something better. Heaven never wastes movement. Chosen one, pay attention to what feels like coincidence. For often it is divine orchestration. The right people begin to appear. The wrong ones begin to drift. Patterns change, and suddenly peace replaces striving. That is the language of confirmation. God speaks not only through scripture, but through timing, through opportunity, through stillness. And even when the signs seem small, they are sacred. The same God who parted seas also uses whispers. The same power that raised the dead also hides in the quiet rhythm of your days. Do not despise subtle signs. Heaven hides its fingerprints in the ordinary to reveal its presence in the extraordinary. Your obedience has turned the spiritual tide. Things that were stagnant are moving again. What once resisted you now yields. Favor is beginning to find you effortlessly. Where you once struggled to force outcomes, you now simply walk into alignment. That is the difference between striving and flowing. Heaven moves with those who have learned to rest in trust. Sometimes the sign of breakthrough is not noise, but peace. You may wake one morning and realize you are no longer anxious about what used to keep you up at night. That peace itself is confirmation, the silent announcement that the storm has passed and heaven's hand is upon you. Chosen one, it is time to recognize the divine rhythm surrounding you. You are not walking in circles anymore. You are walking in cycles of completion. Each act of faith brings closure to what once felt endless. You are moving from praying for signs to becoming one. Your life itself has become evidence of God's goodness. This is the season where your faith will be validated publicly. What was tested in private will now bear fruit openly. The same people who questioned your perseverance will soon witness the results of your steadfastness. But remember, confirmation is not for pride, it's for purpose. God reveals his hand to strengthen your heart for the next assignment. You have learned to recognize his voice. Now you are learning to recognize his signature. When favor flows naturally, when alignment feels effortless, when peace replaces striving, that is his handwriting over your destiny. And now, beloved, as an act of prophetic acknowledgement, type 555 in the comments below. It represents divine change, grace multiplied, and transition wrapped in mercy. It's not superstition, it's symbolism. You are declaring that you recognize the shift and agree with heaven's motion. When you type that number, you are testifying, I see the signs. I will not doubt what heaven confirms. You are marking this moment as holy ground, a point in time when heaven said, now. It's your public amen to what God has privately spoken. Chosen one, the signs are clear, heaven is with you. The wind is changing direction in your favor. The weight you once carried is lifting. The answers are aligning, the paths are clearing, and peace is following every step you take. Keep your spirit alert and your heart open. You are entering a season where heaven will speak not once, but repeatedly. Each sign will echo the same message: you were right to trust me. Let the signs strengthen your faith, not inflate your pride. Let them remind you that every promise carries a process, and every process leads to proof. The signs are not random, they are divine signatures sealing your obedience. And as you move forward, remember, God doesn't just confirm words, He confirms walkers. You walk with Him, and so the evidence will follow you wherever you go. Chosen one, when heaven pours through your life, it never stops with you. The overflow of obedience is designed to reach others, to seep into hearts, homes, and generations. What you did in faith yesterday is already moving outward today, quietly transforming atmospheres. The oil that covered your sacrifice is flowing beyond your hands. The kingdom of God was never meant to be contained within individuals. It is a current that moves through vessels willing to stay open. You have become one of those vessels. Your faithfulness has become a river, and that river is beginning to find its paths through words you speak, actions you take, and presence you carry. When God blesses you, He is never blessing you alone. Blessing in the language of heaven always carries motion. It must move, it must multiply, it must touch others. The peace that has returned to your heart will soon rest upon your family. The clarity you gain through struggle will bring light to those lost in confusion. The compassion you learned through pain will heal the wounds of others who are still bleeding. And when the river of blessing touches others, it returns to you multiplied. The joy you give becomes strength. The wisdom you share becomes protection. Heaven's arithmetic is different. What you pour out is never lost. It is transformed and sent back to you refined with grace. Your obedience becomes a melody that travels farther than your voice. It finds weary hearts, softens stubborn spirits, and awakens courage in those who have forgotten their worth. You may never hear the echoes, but heaven hears them daily, a song that began the moment you chose to live surrendered. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. That verse is more than poetic, it is prophetic. Your cup was never meant to stay full, it was meant to overflow. God's intention is not for you to hoard His goodness, but to spill it into the world. Every miracle that touches your life becomes nourishment for another. Every time God restores you, He is simultaneously restoring someone through you. The overflow of obedience is invisible at first. You might not notice how your words bring calm to someone else's anxiety, or how your patience disarms anger around you. But heaven sees it. The fragrance of grace that clings to your spirit spreads without announcement. You have become a living invitation to peace. Your presence now carries an echo when you enter a room. Unseen shifts occur. The anxious feel steady, the weary sense hope, the lost feel a pull toward home. This is not coincidence, it is overflow. When you allowed heaven to flow through you instead of merely to you, you became a conduit of restoration. And understand, this overflow is not limited to emotion or energy. It manifests in opportunities, in provision, in protection. The blessing over your life expands to cover those near you. Your obedience becomes a shield for others. Many will never realize that the reason calamity passed them by was because heaven honored your presence among them. Chosen one, the way you live now is a sermon without words. Your quiet integrity, your compassion under pressure, your refusal to gossip or condemn, these are ripples of divine influence. You are preaching the gospel with every step, even when you say nothing. The world is watching not how loudly you proclaim faith, but how deeply you embody it. This is the mystery of divine generosity. The more you give away, the more you receive. Every act of love refills what you release. Every kindness spoken multiplies the grace around you. The economy of heaven has no lack. Your cup overflows precisely because you keep pouring. Sometimes you may feel drained and wonder if the flow has ended. But the well within you is not your own. It is fed by a river that never runs dry. The source is God Himself, and He delights in filling those who continue to pour. So when you feel empty, don't retreat, return to the source. The river will rise again. You are becoming a living prophecy that others will read without words. Those around you will not need sermons, they will need your peace. They will not need explanations, they will need your presence. You will not need to convince, they will simply feel the calm of God that moves through you. And though you might never know the full reach of your influence, heaven keeps the record. The child comforted, the stranger encouraged, the family restored, all of them trace back to your obedience. You are not just a recipient of grace, you are a distributor of it. So walk gently, carrying the awareness that every step leaves light behind. Your life is a lamp for paths you will never walk, and your obedience is a song that others will one day learn to sing. This is the beauty of divine overflow. It never asks for recognition, yet it changes everything it touches. You are living proof that when one life yields completely to God, entire generations can be healed through the overflow. Chosen one, there are moments when heaven hides rewards not to withhold them, but to deepen your faith. The Father does not forget your obedience. He simply prepares the perfect moment to reveal what has been promised. Today, even if your eyes cannot yet see the evidence, your spirit stands on the threshold of divine reward. You have sown in tears, prayed in silence, and obeyed when it cost you comfort. Heaven has not ignored a single moment. Every prayer, every act of compassion, every step of faith has been stored in God's treasury. The reward may be hidden for now, but it is secure, untouched by time, protected from theft, preserved in divine memory. As Jesus spoke in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 6, verse 6. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. That reward is not always material. Often, it is transformation. God's greatest rewards come wrapped in peace, in wisdom, in renewed strength. What others chase in the world's marketplace, heaven gives quietly to those who stay faithful in secret. You are one of them. You have lived in the unseen, trusted in silence, and now, heaven is preparing its unveiling. Sometimes the reward comes like sunrise, gradual, golden, gentle. Other times it arrives suddenly, breaking darkness with fierce brilliance. Either way, it comes. The same God who noticed your tears will also announce your triumph. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. There is something sacred about delayed rewards. They teach your heart not to worship the gift, but the giver. They refine your motives and purify your vision. The longer the wait, the deeper the trust. And the deeper the trust, the greater the revelation. You are learning to love God for who He is, not only for what He gives. That kind of love opens heaven's storehouse. Hidden rewards often grow underground, like roots that dig deep before the tree breaks through. What God has been doing beneath the surface of your waiting is stronger than anything visible. The roots of faith that formed in your hidden seasons are now strong enough to hold the weight of blessing. Chosen one, your secret obedience has drawn heaven's attention. The Father delights in rewarding the unseen acts, the forgiveness no one witnessed, the generosity no one praised, the faithfulness no one thanked you for. Each of those moments is an offering, and none have been forgotten. God's memory is flawless. When your reward comes, it will not arrive as a surprise to heaven, but as a fulfillment of divine order. The sequence has already been written. Every time you obeyed, you set a law in motion. Every act of integrity became a seed. Now, the harvest approaches, and unlike earthly reward, what heaven gives cannot fade, cannot rust, cannot be stolen. Perhaps your reward will appear in ways you don't expect, in the reconciliation of a relationship long broken, in the healing of a hidden wound, in the restoration of something you thought lost forever. God rewards not only with things, but with wholeness. He returns what time tried to erase and renews what sorrow tried to destroy. There will come a day soon when you'll look back and realize why the delay was necessary. You will see how every detour led directly to the destination you could not yet see. The pain was not punishment, it was preparation. The silence was not absence, it was strategy. God was not late. He was perfecting your capacity to receive without losing yourself in the blessing. Chosen one, heaven's rewards are not always loud, but they are lasting. The world offers applause that fades. Heaven gives inheritance that endures. You are being entrusted with blessings meant to outlive you, truths that will travel through your children, your words, your legacy. This is why patience mattered. This is why the wait was holy. And when it comes, the reward will not look borrowed, it will fit you perfectly, like a garment tailored by grace. You won't need to fight for it, it will recognize you. The blessing has been shaped by your journey, sized by your endurance, and softened by your tears. It will rest upon you naturally, effortlessly. Do not rush the unveiling. The same God who planted your seed knows the right season for your bloom. He takes no joy in premature harvests. The fruit that endures must ripen under His timing. Trust the process. The gardener has not forgotten the soil he watered with his own promise. So rest now. The Father's secret reward is already on its way. You will not have to chase it. It will find you. It will knock on your door, call your name, and fit your spirit like destiny finally fulfilled. When heaven rewards, it is not just repayment, it is revelation. You will see that none of your tears were wasted, none of your faith misdirected, none of your pain meaningless. Every unseen moment was part of the divine script leading to this unveiling. Chosen one, heaven remembers, heaven restores, and soon heaven will reveal. Chosen one, the story that began in silence is no longer yours alone. Heaven is turning your obedience into testimony, your trials into teaching, your scars into scripture that others will read and find healing in. What once broke you has become the bridge others will cross to reach restoration. Your life is no longer a whisper, it has become a sound heaven can amplify to awaken those still sleeping in sorrow. Every battle you've endured has carried meaning beyond your own deliverance. The pain, the tears, the endurance, they were not wasted. They were translated into language others could understand. You've become the living proof that faith still works, that mercy still redeems, that light still wins. As the voice of Revelation declares in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11, they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. That is the power you carry now. Your story is not meant to sit in silence, it is meant to speak life into other souls. Someone out there is hanging on by a thread, and your words might become the rope that pulls them back to hope. Your wounds, now healed, release oil that anoints others for freedom. The world doesn't need perfection, it needs proof. And you, chosen one, are the evidence that God still restores. The same people who once doubted you will soon find courage in your transformation. Every scar tells them, you can survive this too. That's why heaven allowed you to walk through fire, so that when others feel the heat, they'll know it's survivable. Think of your story as a lantern. The cracks in your glass don't diminish the light, they release it. The very places where you were once broken have become the openings through which God's glory shines. You're not disqualified by what you went through. You're distinguished because of it. Heaven uses imperfect vessels to display perfect grace. So now, let the testimony breathe. Don't hide the journey. Don't minimize the miracles. Speak gently, live boldly, and let your story travel like fragrance carried by the wind. There are people in dark valleys who will catch the scent of your survival and remember that dawn exists. And as you let your light extend, remember that you are not just telling your story, you are continuing heaven's. Every time you share, you plant a seed. Every seed becomes a forest of faith for someone else to rest beneath. This is how revival begins, not with noise, but with honesty. If these words find your heart steadying, if they remind you that your journey matters, let that gratitude become movement. Like, share, and subscribe not as ritual but as ripple. Each click becomes a spark that carries hope into timelines and hearts you will never meet. Every share is a torch passed down a long corridor of souls searching for light. And if you feel led, if the Spirit stirs generosity within you, consider sowing into this river of words. Every offering, small or great, is a drop of oil keeping the flame alive. This isn't about donation, it's about participation. When you give, you join in the divine rhythm of exchange. Light flows through you, then from you. Heaven multiplies every drop into waves of impact. Think of it as tending a garden. The message you hear today is a seed, but when you water it through giving, it grows into fruit that nourishes countless others. Some you'll never meet, some you'll never hear from, but heaven will record every life touched because you chose to plant back into the soil that fed your soul. And don't forget to engage, leave a comment, not out of obligation, but as a living testimony. Share a few words about what God has done in you. Your comment might be the confirmation someone else is praying for tonight. The conversation you begin may be the comfort another heart has been waiting for. You see, the kingdom grows through connection. Every time you speak, every time you engage, you extend the reach of grace. You're not just interacting with a message, you're building an altar in digital space where hope can dwell. This work, this voice, this space isn't mine alone, it's ours. Heaven calls communities like these wells of living water. They remain flowing as long as hearts keep drawing. Every view, every prayer, every contribution is another hand on the rope pulling water for thirsty souls. Chosen one, you've come full circle. The voice that once called you in darkness now calls you to carry light forward. You are both the healed and the healer, both the receiver and the messenger. Every story you tell, every word you share, every gift you give becomes another ripple that carries God's love beyond what your eyes can see. So let your life continue to speak. Let your gratitude become generosity, your faith become fire, and your testimony become a trumpet calling others home. The same grace that saved you will move through you, reaching hearts still lost in the wilderness you once walked through. You are heaven's storyteller now. Keep the flame alive and let it burn where shadows still linger. Chosen one. Favor is a language that heaven speaks fluently. It doesn't always sound like triumph or look like glittering success. Sometimes it arrives quietly like peace in a place that once knew panic, or strength where weakness used to live. You have stepped into that language now. Favor has recognized you, and everything around you is beginning to shift in response. It's not the kind of favor that shouts, it's the kind that steadies. The kind that moves through doors before you even reach them, preparing hearts, aligning moments, softening obstacles. Heaven's favor walks ahead of the obedient. And because you have chosen trust over control, that favor now marks your steps. You've been through seasons where you had to work for every inch of progress, where nothing came easily, where silence felt endless. But this next chapter carries a different rhythm. You won't need to push as hard. What resisted you before will now respond. The spiritual ground you once plowed through tears has finally begun to yield. We are reminded through the words of the psalmist in the book of Psalms, chapter 5, verse 12. Surely, Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield. That verse is not a promise for perfection, it's a declaration for alignment. When you walk in step with heaven, favor becomes your armor. It shields you from what others stumble over. It redirects harm, repels jealousy, and silences accusation. It's not arrogance, it's assurance. Favor doesn't make you better than others, it makes you more available for God's purposes. This divine favor is not random, it's relational. It responds to intimacy, not performance. The closer you draw to the Father, the more His presence manifests as provision, protection, and peace. You are learning that favor is not luck, it's location. Stay where God's voice resides and favor will never be far behind. Chosen one, the grace that covers you now is visible even to those who don't understand it. People may not be able to name it, but they will sense it. They'll see how things fall into place for you, how obstacles dissolve just before they harden, how closed paths suddenly open, and they'll call it coincidence. You'll call it covenant. Divine favor often looks like contradiction, how storms still rage around you, yet you remain unshaken. How others lose sleep, yet you rest easily. How situations that once terrified you now bow before your peace. That is the shield of Psalm 5:12 in motion. Heaven's favor is invisible armor, no one sees it, but everyone feels its effect. The favor resting upon you will begin to attract both light and resistance. Some will celebrate it, others will question it, but none can cancel it. You cannot be unchosen for what heaven has already sealed. Even the enemy must yield to what God has marked. When the Father wraps His favor around His child, every force that rises against them becomes a tool for greater testimony. This new favor will not isolate you. It will elevate your purpose. It will place you in rooms where your voice carries healing, in conversations where your perspective shifts hearts, in moments where your presence alone alters the atmosphere. Heaven doesn't grant favor merely to bless, it grants favor to broadcast the nature of God through His chosen ones. You are now walking proof that endurance leads to elevation. What was once crushing you has become the ground you stand on. Every wound that bled in the waiting has turned into a window for light to pour through. The very things that once drained you have become the channels through which grace now flows. And though this season will bring ease, it will not bring complacency. Favor is not the end, it is empowerment. It's the reminder that grace is meant to be stewarded, not stored. What God pours into you is meant to pass through you, touching lives, mending hearts, revealing hope. Walk with humility. Carry this favor lightly, as one who knows it belongs not to them but through them. Let gratitude be the posture of your every step. Remember that every open door is a platform for service. Every divine connection a call to compassion, every blessing an invitation to bless. Chosen one, you are crowned with heaven's favor not as decoration but as declaration. The spiritual world recognizes what has been placed upon you. It sees the light that has intensified, the peace that cannot be stolen, the joy that refuses to fade. You are marked now not by striving but by surrender. So move forward without fear. The same God who wrapped favor around you will sustain it. You will not have to fight for recognition. Favor will speak your name in rooms your feet have yet to enter. You will not have to prove yourself. The glow of grace will do it for you. This is the crown heaven gives the faithful, not one of gold, but of glory. It does not rest on your head. It radiates from your life. And wherever you go, the world will know this one has walked with God, and God has chosen to walk with them.